This landlord is impossible, ranted at dinner. We need to speak to the owner. I checked my watch. The property manager called. Ms. Thompson, how would you like to handle your mother's late rent? The room went silent. My brother Derek's fork clattered against his plate. Mom's face drained of color. Dad froze mid-chew. But let me back up. This story started 28 years ago when I was born exactly 18 months after the golden child. Derek was everything. I was the footnote. When I was 7 and Derek was 9, we both brought home report cards. Derek had straight B's. I had straight A's and a teacher's note praising my math skills. Derek, these are wonderful. Mom hung his report card on the refrigerator with 3 magnets. We're so proud of you, sweetheart. She glanced at mine. Oh, that's nice, Emily. She set it on the counter. By evening it was buried under junk mail. When I was 12, I asked if I could take art classes. They cost $85 per month. That's expensive, Emily. We can't afford extras right now. 3 weeks later, Derek mentioned he wanted to join a travel hockey team. The fees were $340 per month, plus equipment and tournament travel. Of course. Dad beamed. This could be your future, son. We'll make it work. They made it work. For 6 years they drove Derek to tournaments in 3 states. I taught myself to draw using library books and YouTube videos. When I was 16, I got my first job at a coffee shop. I worked 20 hours a week while maintaining a 4.0 GPA. I was saving for college because even then I understood. They would pay for Derek's education, not mine. That Thanksgiving, extended family gathered at our house. Uncle Ron asked what colleges we were considering. Derek's looking at Michigan and Wisconsin, Dad announced proudly. Business programs. We're touring campuses this winter. What about you, Emily? Aunt Sarah asked. Community college, probably. Then I'll transfer. Mom jumped in quickly. Emily's very practical. She understands the value of affordable education. What she meant. Derek deserves investment. You don't. I got accepted to 3 state universities. Full tuition at community college meant I could work full-time and save aggressively. I studied accounting because numbers made sense. Numbers didn't play favorites. Derek went to Wisconsin. They paid $28,000 per year. I commuted to community college. I paid my own $3,400 per year. When I was 19, I made my first real estate investment. A professor mentioned that a student rental near campus was in foreclosure. The owner was desperate. Price: $47,000 for a 3-bedroom house that rented for $1,200 per month. I had $12,000 saved. I found a real estate investment program that taught creative financing. I offered the seller $8,000 down and owner financing on the rest. He accepted. 6 months later, that house was cash flowing $340 per month after all expenses. I told no one. Derek graduated with a business degree and $15,000 in credit card debt that Dad quietly paid off. He moved home temporarily to get established. He stayed for 4 years. During those 4 years, I bought 6 more rental properties. I lived in the smallest one, a 650-square-foot house that needed work, and fixed it up slowly. To my family, I was still renting that tiny place and working in property management. Both technically true. I managed my own properties. They assumed I worked for someone else. When I was 25, I bought my first small apartment building, 8 units for $340,000. I put down $68,000, 20%, and financed the rest. Cash flow: $2,100 per month. When I was 27, I bought a 12-unit building for $680,000. At 28, I sold 3 single-family rentals at the peak of the market and used the profits to buy a 24-unit complex for $1.8 million. By 30, I owned 63 rental units across 4 properties. Total portfolio value: $5.2 million. Total equity: $1.4 million. Monthly cash flow: $18,500 after all expenses including property management fees. I still lived in my small house. I still drove my 2015 Honda Civic. I still wore Target clothes to family dinners. And I still said nothing. Derek, meanwhile, had finally moved out at 29. He and his wife Melissa rented a newly renovated 3-bedroom townhouse in a nice neighborhood. They loved it. Great location, modern finishes, responsive property manager. Our landlord is so professional, Derek told everyone at Christmas dinner that year. Everything gets fixed immediately. Melissa says it's the best rental she's ever had. I smiled and sipped my wine. That townhouse was Unit 7B in my 24-unit complex. Their rent, $2,400 per month. They'd been model tenants for 11 months. On time every month, no complaints, no drama. Then Dad got sick. Dad's cancer diagnosis came in February. Stage 3. Treatable, but the treatment was brutal. He'd need to stop working for at least 6 months. Mom panicked. Dad's income was 70% of their household revenue. They had some savings but not enough for 6 months of lost wages plus medical bills. Derek stepped up. We'll figure this out together, Dad. Family takes care of family. The following week, Derek called a family meeting. Sunday dinner at Mom and Dad's house. Mandatory attendance. I arrived at 6. Derek was already there with Melissa, both looking serious. Mom's eyes were red. Dad looked exhausted. Thanks for coming, Derek said, his tone suggesting I'd done them a favor by showing up to a command performance. We need to talk about the financial situation. He had spreadsheets. Actual printed spreadsheets. Mom and Dad's mortgage is $1,840 per month. Dad's treatment costs about $950 per month after insurance. Other bills bring their monthly expenses to $4,200. Mom's income alone is $2,800. He looked at me. They're short $1,400 per month. Minimum. I see, I said quietly. Melissa and I can contribute $400 per month. We'd do more, but we have our own rent and expenses. He slid a paper across the table. We think you should cover the other $1,000. I picked up the paper. He'd done the math based on our respective incomes, or what he thought our incomes were. Derek makes $71,000 per year, the sheet read. Emily makes approximately $35,000. However, Emily has no dependents and lower living expenses. Proposed contribution: Derek $400 per month, Emily $1,000 per month. You live in that tiny house, Melissa added. Your rent must be, what, $600? You can afford this. I looked at Dad. He wouldn't meet my eyes. I'll need to think about it, I said. Derek's jaw tightened. Think about it? Dad has cancer, Emily. This is family. I understand. I'll think about it. Unbelievable. Derek stood up. You know what? This is exactly why you've never gotten anywhere in life. You're selfish. You'd rather hoard your little coffee shop paychecks than help your own father. I don't work at a coffee shop anymore, Derek. I haven't for 8 years. Property management, coffee shop, whatever. Same difference. Entry level forever. I stood. I'll let you know by Friday. Mom finally spoke. Emily, please. We really need you. I said I'll let you know Friday. I left. That night I reviewed my options. I could write them a check for $6,000 to cover 6 months. I could afford it easily. But something stopped me. They'd never asked about my life. Never asked how I afforded things. Never wondered why I didn't seem stressed about money. They saw what they wanted to see. The family failure, barely scraping by, lucky to have a job. On Friday I texted Derek. I can contribute $500 per month for 6 months. That's what I can manage. Derek's response came within 2 minutes. That's pathetic. But fine. We'll make up the difference somehow. The somehow came 2 weeks later. I was in my home office, the second bedroom of my small house, reviewing quarterly reports when Derek called. Hey, listen, I need a favor. Okay. Our landlord is being completely unreasonable about our lease renewal. They're raising our rent by $300 per month. We literally can't afford that right now with helping Mom and Dad. My property manager, Sandra, had sent me the renewal notices 2 weeks ago. Market rate for that unit had increased significantly. The new rent of $2,700 was actually below market. I could get $2,850 easily. But I'd approved $2,700 to keep increases reasonable for good tenants. That's tough, I said neutrally. It gets worse. Melissa talked to the property manager, Sandra, total bitch by the way, and asked if we could delay the increase for 6 months given our family situation. Sandra said no. Said it's company policy. It was policy. My policy. No exceptions no matter the sob story. I'd learned that lesson the hard way years ago. So here's the favor, Derek continued. Can you lend us $1,800? First and last month at the new rate. We'll pay you back once Dad's better. You need $1,800? Yeah. I know it's a lot for you, but we're desperate. This place is perfect. Right school district for when we have kids. Melissa's 10 minutes from work. We can't lose it. I could have told him then. Should have maybe. I'll think about it. Emily, come on. We need an answer today. The deadline is Monday. Then I guess my answer is no. I don't have $1,800 to lend right now. Silence. Then, you're unbelievable. You know that. Dad has cancer, we're all sacrificing, and you can't even help your own brother keep a roof over his head. You'll keep a roof over your head, Derek. You'll just have to decide if you want to pay the new rent or move. Financial idiot, he muttered before hanging up. They paid the new rent. I saw the payment hit my account on the 1st, $2,700 exactly on time. 2 months later May arrived. Derek and Melissa's rent was due on the 1st. May 1st came and went. No payment. Sandra called me on May 3rd. Unit 7B is 3 days late. Should I send the late notice? Yes. Standard protocol. Got it. This is unusual for them. They've been perfect until now. On May 5th, the payment arrived with the $75 late fee. June 1st, no payment. June 5th, no payment. June 10th, still nothing. Sandra called. Unit 7B is now 10 days late. This triggers the formal notice under state law. Should I proceed? Yes. I'll send the notice today. They have 14 days to pay or vacate. I didn't tell Derek. He was an adult. He'd receive the notice. He'd handle it. On June 15th, Derek called Mom. I wasn't on the call, but Mom called me immediately after. Emily, did you hear about Derek? Hear what? His terrible landlord sent an eviction notice. Can you believe it? Over one late payment. It's not one late payment, Mom. It sounds like he's missed June completely and was late in May. That's not the point. His father has cancer. Where's the compassion? Where's the humanity? Landlords have bills too, Mom. Mortgages, maintenance, property taxes. You sound just like that property manager. Kinda. Derek says she's absolutely heartless. That Sunday, Mom insisted on another family dinner. We need to strategize about Derek's housing situation. I should have declined. I knew where this was going. But I went. The dinner started at 6. By 6:15, Derek was in full rant mode. This landlord is impossible, he fumed, pacing Mom's kitchen. We tried to negotiate, tried to explain our situation. Nothing. Sandra, this property manager, she's a complete bitch. Refuses to even connect us with the actual owner. Have you tried going around her? Dad asked weakly from his chair. He looked thinner than last month. The owner is completely anonymous. Some LLC bullshit. Clearwater Properties Management LLC. We can't find any human being to talk to. It's all through Sandra. Melissa jumped in. We have 14 days to pay $5,475. That's June's rent plus July's advance rent plus late fees. Or we're out. Mom turned to me. Emily, I know things are tight, but could you possibly? We need to speak to the owner, Derek interrupted. This is insane. There has to be some human being making these decisions. Someone with a heart. I checked my watch. 6:47 p.m. My phone rang. Kinda. Right on schedule. I'd texted her at 6:30 to call me at 6:45. Excuse me, I said quietly. I need to take this. I answered on speaker. I didn't hold the phone to my ear. I set it on the dining room table. Ms. Thompson, how would you like to handle your mother's late rent? The room went silent. Derek's fork clattered against his plate. Mom's face drained of color completely. She looked gray. Dad froze mid-chew. Melissa's wine glass tilted in her hand. Red wine spilled onto Mom's cream tablecloth. Sandra, I'm at dinner with my family, I said calmly. Can you clarify which property you're referring to? The townhouse complex. Unit 7B. Your brother Derek Thompson and his wife Melissa are now 15 days past due on June rent. As of tomorrow, we'll need to file formal eviction proceedings. Do you want to extend the deadline, or should I proceed? What unit? Derek whispered. And just to confirm, Sandra continued, clearly enjoying this, I'd briefed her thoroughly. You also wanted an update on your parents' rental situation. They're in Unit 3C of the Riverside Apartments. They're 6 days late on this month's rent. Should I send them a late notice as well? Mom made a small choking sound. Wait, Dad said. Wait. Unit 3C. That's our address. Yes, sir, Sandra replied cheerfully. Ms. Thompson has owned Riverside Apartments for 4 years. She's been your landlord since you moved in. June 2020. That's not possible, Derek said, but his voice was weak. I looked at him. Sandra, let's discuss this Monday morning. Send both properties their formal notices per standard protocol. No exceptions. Understood, Ms. Thompson. Oh, and congratulations on closing the Parkview Towers deal. 48 units is a significant addition to your portfolio. Thank you, Sandra. I ended the call. Nobody moved. Mom found her voice first. Emily, you own our building? Yes. For 4 years. Yes. Derek stood abruptly. His chair screeched backward. You've been our landlord this entire time? Yes. You raised our rent. You sent us an eviction notice. Your own brother. You're 15 days late on rent, Derek. That triggers automatic eviction proceedings under state law. It's not personal. It's business protocol. Business protocol? His face was red. We're family. Family that calls me a financial idiot. Family that assumes I work entry-level jobs. Family that never once asked how I was doing or what I'd accomplished. Melissa was scrolling frantically on her phone. Oh my God. Derek. Look. She turned her phone around. A real estate investment website. My profile. Emily Thompson, Principal, Clearwater Properties Management LLC. Portfolio. 127 residential units across 6 properties. Estimated portfolio value, $8.3 million. Total equity, $2.4 million. Mom grabbed the phone. Her hands were shaking. You're worth. She couldn't finish the sentence. I own 127 rental units in this city. 6 apartment buildings. Current occupancy rate, 96%. 2 of those tenants are you. Why didn't you tell us? Dad asked quietly. You never asked. You saw what you wanted to see. The family failure. The one who needed community college because she wasn't worth investing in. That's not fair, Mom whispered. Isn't it? You paid $28,000 per year for Derek to go to Wisconsin. I paid my own way through community college and state school. Cost me $31,000 total. I graduated debt-free. Derek graduated $15,000 in debt. That Dad paid off. We were helping him start his life. You were choosing. Every single time you chose Derek. This is insane, Derek muttered. He was pacing again. So what now? You're just going to evict us? Your own family. I'm going to treat you exactly like I treat every tenant. You have 14 days to pay what you owe or vacate the property. We don't have $5,475. Then you'll need to make arrangements. Move in with Mom and Dad perhaps. They don't have room. Then find somewhere you can afford. Melissa's eyes were wild. You're enjoying this. You're actually enjoying this. No, Melissa. I'm not. I'm exhausted. I've been the family disappointment for 30 years. I built a multi-million-dollar portfolio from nothing. I've been your landlord for 2 years and your parents' landlord for 4. And not one of you ever thought, hey, Emily seems stable. Maybe we should ask how she's doing. You should have told us. Mom's voice cracked. Why? So you could ask me for money? So Derek could mock me for being a slumlord instead of a financial idiot? So you could decide which version of disappointment I was. My phone buzzed. A text from Sandra. Building inspector just confirmed. Property 3C needs immediate electrical work. Will cost approximate $8,500. Your parents' unit is affected. I showed them the text. Your unit needs electrical work. The building is 40 years old. This was scheduled for next month, but the inspector moved it up. I'll need access to your apartment next week. When? Mom asked weakly. Tuesday. Wednesday at the latest. We'll be home, Dad said. Good. Silence settled over the table. The kind of silence that presses down like a physical weight. Derek sat down slowly. I don't understand. How did we not know? You didn't want to know. When I bought my first property at 19, I was excited. I mentioned at Thanksgiving that I'd invested in real estate. You remember what you said, Derek? He didn't answer. You said, "Oh great, Emily's falling for a get-rich-quick scheme. How much did you lose?" Mom laughed. Dad changed the subject. I never mentioned it.